Okay. Hear me out here. Instead of going with our democratic republic of how we elect these officials who can stay in office for 4 years and basically do what they want, they don't have to listen to us. The only people they have to answer to is the party and to the lobbyists. What I think we should replace that with is a democratic process that the leader of the household has a number of votes equal to his family. Like, let's say I get married and I have 2 kids. That thus equals my point value in the voting system equal to 4 people. Me plus my wife plus 2 kids. So, based on how many kids you have and how many wives you have, you can increase your voting count. The only way for a person to, officially have a high number in voting would be if they either had multiple wives or multiple kids. This in turn would increase the number of people, because if you want to have any voting leverage, you need to have more kids. So I think this solves 2 problems it hits 2 birds with 1 stone. It solves both problems of how we need more people to make a Red Army to, start a revolution, because the elite rely on there being a few number of people to control. The more people, the harder it is for them to control you. There's just more to keep track of, and there's less officers to run amok. So the idea is to make more people so that it is more, I don't want to say chaotic, but more unstable for them. It's more about what you can do individually and less about how they can sustain you and label you and, there can still be government programs. I don't want to get rid of government programs, but it makes it harder for them to, put a barcode on you. And at the same time, it makes the voting process easier, because rather than worrying about legal age or, any of this shit, felonies, whatever, if you are the man of the house and you have so many people under your belt, then you can declare that you're a voting, you're a voting bloc. You are your own party. And there's no reason that a man could not descent from his father and become his own voting bloc, but then he starts at 1. So if, let's say, I wanted to, be under my father's voting bloc, that would increase his voting bloc, but I would lose my voting voice. However, I pretty much, my father's a good man, but, if I want to have my own vote, I would have to declare my sovereignty, and then it would start over from 1. Some people might not agree with this. I'm expecting that, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just throwing an idea out there. You can take it as you will. I figure it's a way to, reach out to a newer audience, especially since I have a lot of Muslim friends, and they believe in polygamy. So this would be a way to encourage that, and at the same time, retain that liberal socialism. And eventually that would turn into communism. So I just think that's a way to compromise and to bring these ideas together and consolidate them into one functioning body. About the only people that probably wouldn't like this are feminists who want to believe that, women should be... there's nothing to say that a woman still wouldn't be able to control her own life. It would just suggest that she is part of the whole of the man. Like, a man is like Voltron, and all his children and all his wives are part of his robot limbs, I guess you could say. I guess women could have their own separate voting block, and they could have it based off the number of husbands, but I don't see it as practical, because women can only, it takes 9 months to have a baby. So it would not seem practical to me to have multiple husbands and then just like 1 or 2 kids. As opposed to if a man has several wives and each one of them has kids, he can easily increase his voting block. And like I said, the main goal here is to create a Red Army and to create a large abundance of people so that the system cannot control any one person. And then with that voting block, they can vote however they want. But since it isn't based off capitalism, it won't be based off the profit incentive, it won't be based off that to own land and commodity shit, and even if it were to get to that point, which that is always an illuminating concern, since his family would be so big, the royal bloodline, I guess you could put it, would not be practical. It would not be practical to be a feudal lord when you have like 20 goddamn kids and 10 wives, because, you know, they could detach themselves from you, even if not by official law, by force. And, you know, it's just, it does not bode well to be a dick when you have all these people surrounding you. So, that's just an idea. I'm not saying it's a particularly good idea, I'm just saying it's an idea. It's not a system I've seen tried before. I've looked throughout Wikipedia for different types of socialism, communism, Marxism, and I have never seen anything like that. I've never seen it in any political hemisphere. So, that's worth giving it a thought, and tell me what you think.